Hello girls, welcome. It is Monday on The Biggest Beauty Project, and not really that much exciting stuff happening in my life. I know I say that, and then you guys are probably like, oh, but you're getting married, and you just bought a house, and besides like the big stuff, there hasn't really been a lot going on with me. Work, crafts, that's really about the most to report, so I will get right to the topic, which was chosen by Amy, and she wants us to either show or tell us something important about our past, our present, and our future. And I'm probably taking this topic in a little bit of a different direction, but when I was trying to think of something that I wanted to show from my past, the number one thing that kept popping up in my head was moments from my past that kind of changed the direction of my life or led me to where I am. It's always kind of interesting to look back and say, you know, if this hadn't happened, then I don't think that, you know, all of this in my life would be happening. Or even when bad stuff happens, you sit there and say, you know, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gotten this great thing, you know, years down the road. So I think the most important thing to tell about my past, which relates to my present and then also my future, would be a moment in high school where I got put into a television production class. There was this class called Recently, and you got to do kind of like news and happenings for the school, and it would play during the extra hour, which people did clubs usually, but if you didn't go to a club, this would play on the closed circuit TV for everyone. And before the year I did it, it was an open class, but they wanted to kind of reformat it, and so they made it a closed class, and only seniors could do it, and you had to apply for this class, interview for it, and then get chosen to be in it. And I had thought about doing it because my sister had done it, but I pulled an application. I think I filled it out, but I never turned it in, and I never did the interview, and you know, it never happened. But when I got my schedule for my senior year, I was in the class, which was really weird. And I thought, okay, maybe I lost my application, someone turned it in for me, and they just didn't have enough people apply for the class. I don't know. It was bizarre, but I ended up being in the class, and it was because of that first taste of television that I ended up going to the college that I went to, ended up switching my major to television, ended up getting the job that I have now, and in essence, actually meeting David wouldn't have happened without all that, because I met David while I was in college doing television, and if I hadn't been doing that television path, I wouldn't have met David, and I wouldn't be with him 5 years later pursuing our future. So it's definitely something that's happened in the past that's relating to what's happening now in my life and what's going to be happening in the future. So it's always like the small moments. It's the small moments that you never think are going to be significant that always end up being significant. And I think that's what's kind of cool about looking back on your life, is the small things the small decisions you make that end up making such a huge impact. Like joining this channel, that was such a small decision. It was like, why not? I'll make videos for YouTube. And it's created into this huge thing in my life. So it's kind of cool. I don't know, maybe talk about in the comments below some small moments that you've had that have ended up being huge for you and being great and wonderful things. I'd love to hear about that stuff. So message me below. But I hope everyone has a good week, and like I said, not much going on in my life.